Meanwhile, Tom Brady missed the team practice on Tuesday, apparently dealing with a minor shoulder injury. It's his non-throwing shoulder, so his left shoulder. He was back on the field today for a walkthrough, is expected to play Sunday against the Jets. And with that, we find our Adam Schefter in the Domino's pregame headquarters. Adam, and let's run through some notable injury reports.
Wendy, let's start with Marcus Mariota, considering the fact that he missed last week's game. And the Titans have said that this is a decision that could go all the way up to Monday night's game against the Indianapolis Colts. And I think there will be a question about whether or not Mariota can play in that game, whether he's going to be able to practice. If he can't go on Monday night, then obviously Matt Castle would step in to replace him at that point in time. But there's a question as to whether Mariota will be able to go on Monday night against the Colts. As for Derek Carr, he was throwing the football in practice last week and this week without pain. The issue there is whether and how he would be able to hold up if he absorbed another hit like the one he took against the Broncos when he fractured a transverse process bone in his back against Denver. Missed the one game last week against Baltimore. The Raiders lost. Something tells me we'll be seeing him this Sunday against the Los Angeles Chargers. As for Matthew Stafford, fairly banged up. The Lions have been evasive about his status, declining to say how he looked in practice, declining to talk about his injuries, but he's got an ankle injury, he's got a hamstring injury. The early indications are that he should be able to go on Sunday against the New Orleans Saints, but this is a situation that'll be worth monitoring as the weekend progresses. Matthew Stafford has been very tough. It takes an awful lot to knock him out of the lineup. He's usually out there, and I think the sense is he'll be out there again, but he is hurting from various injuries right now, Wendy.
Adam, turn to our pass catcher spotlight, and we'll start with the glass half full. Teddy, on the pass catcher with the best matchup.
Well, I'll go to tonight's game, and I'll say Kelvin Benjamin, wide receiver of the Carolina Panthers, is a great matchup tonight. In the past, of course, Cam Newton is having a great year, a couple 300-yard games in a row, 2 or 3, but Funchess has had a good game. McCaffrey is starting to go off. Dixon had his. Cam likes to spread the wealth, okay? And Cam knows Benji, as he calls him, it's his time. He's due. National stage, his big receiver. He is going to have a big night. Mark it down.
Wow.
Right there. He's adamant on this one,
like
Coach.
That, huh?
I do.
I did like that.
Yeah. Coach, I hope you're not as adamant on the flip side here. Somebody's in a tough spot.
Jordy Nelson. Remember last year?
Yeah.
Remember last year when
Jordy
they played the Minnesota Vikings, and Terrence Newman didn't want to. He didn't want to switch. He wanted to stay on his side when Jordy Nelson was over there. And actually, Xavier Rhodes is the guy that's supposed to cover him. That's who's going to cover him. Xavier Rhodes. He's going to shadow Jordy all night, and he's got length. He's got great ability to play the ball in the air. This is a tough matchup for Jordy. When you get a guy that's physical and that can run like Xavier Rhodes, there won't be any miscommunications this year. Xavier Rhodes is going to cover that guy, and he's the only guy supposed to cover him.
Jordy Nelson, a little beat up last week, but will play. Teddy, who you want regardless?
This week, give me some T.Y. T.Y. Hilton of the Indianapolis Colts. Last week, he had a big game, over 170 yards, yes. But Jacoby Brissett, he's a smart guy. And he's starting to learn when this guy's open and he puts his hands up, even if he's covered, throw him the ball, he'll find a way to bring it down. And big, explosive plays, I'm talking 40, 50, 60 yards, catch and runs that he can take with to the house also. Give me T.Y., score me some fantasy points, get me that victory.
I like it.
Your guy, huh?
He's your guy.
He is actually.
We didn't get the table pound, though. Potential breakout pass catcher for week 6.
Well, it's against his Colts, Delaney Walker, the tight end for the Tennessee Titans. I mean, he's a guy that obviously makes a lot of plays in this offense, and they're going to need him because they're going to stack the box, try to stop the Tennessee Titans from running. Delaney Walker, he's kind of goes under the radar. Actually made the Pro Bowl last year. People don't realize that. This guy's a good football player. He really is. And this is the guy you got to lean on when they start stacking the box. Get it to the tight end. He's going to have a big day against the Colts.
All right, Adam Schefter, let's talk storylines and pass catchers. What you got?
I think we're watching Travis Kelce this week. He has advanced into the next stage of concussion protocol right now for the Kansas City Chiefs after suffering the concussion that he did Sunday night against the Houston Texans. On this play, you see him go down, stay down. He entered into the protocol, stayed in the game for a little while, but now he has been advanced to the point where he's going to be allowed to participate in practice in a limited capacity. So I guess he's trending in the right direction to be able to play Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but he still has not received full clearance yet.
All right, also trending in the right direction, Matthew Berry. How about some love-hate with regards to our pass catchers?
Thanks, Wendy. Look, you just heard Teddy talk about Kelvin Benjamin and the matchup he has tonight. Well, I like the guy opposite him as well, Devin Funchess. Devin Funchess has been the 8th best wide receiver in fantasy since week 2, and it's not as much as a fluke as you might think. Obviously, the touchdowns help. But over that same time frame, he's top 15 in the NFL in receptions and targets, at least 8 targets in 3 straight games. I like his chances at another big night here on Thursday night. Again, that Eagles secondary really struggling and having to travel on a short week down to Carolina. As for somebody I'm not crazy about, Mike Evans. Look, if you have Mike Evans, you're still starting Mike Evans. Let's be very clear about that. But on the road at Arizona, having to go against Patrick Peterson here, I mean, think about the Eagles. And as great as they were against Arizona last week, the one Philadelphia pass catcher who did nothing, Alshon Jeffrey, 3 for 31 against Patrick Peterson. No one has received more than 50 yards against Patrick Peterson this whole year, and he's faced guys like Des Bryant, Pierre Garçon, T.Y. Hilton. So as great as Mike Evans is, I think this is a big Deshaun Jackson game, Cameron Brate, you see some Doug Martin here. I just don't see Mike Evans having a top 10 day like he normally does. So he unfortunately makes the hate list. Wendy.
Matthew Berry, thank you. Press coverage now, and apparently air quality in Alameda this week is poor. In fact, so poor that wide receiver Michael Crabtree, among other Raiders players, are wearing a face mask in practice. This is not part of the helmet, so actually designed to help reduce the effect of the air quality.
There's been no word from the league that there would be any contingency plans in shifting this game at all, so it doesn't sound like that's going to happen, but this is a very serious situation, and our thoughts are obviously with everybody in the Northern California area. Herm, you know that area well?
Yeah, it's devastating. It's just unbelievable. People that I know personally that they've been devastated by the fires up there.
This obviously in response to the wildfires that are running through Northern California. So again, echoing what Adam said, our thoughts and prayers with all of those affected. Listen, we're going to move to the running back spotlight in just a minute, but what do you make of this situation? Will this settle, and will Adrian Peterson find some productivity right now with the Cardinals?
Well, he's at a place where the head coach likes running the football, and that's Bruce Arians. We go way back from the Kansas City days when he had Christian Okoye and Barry Ware. He was a running back coach, and he knows that he has to help this offense and help Carson Palmer. He can't carry the load. They have to run the ball. That opens the play-action pass. That's when Carson Palmer is at his best. So this is a good fit for Adrian Peterson.
It wasn't right for him in New Orleans. He knew it. We all knew it. You could see it. And Sean Payton already was liking the youngster in Kamara. And so, listen, you got another chance here. They're going to need you.
And these two sides needed each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's really what this is about. Adrian Peterson needed a new home. Cardinals needed a new running back. Here we go.
Voila. Here we go. All right, here we go with the running back spotlight. We'll start with Coach, running back in a good spot this week.
Well, they got 2 running backs in Washington, P. Ryan and Thompson. And these guys are really physical runners. They can run inside. Thompson's a little bit more of a jittery guy. P. Ryan is a physical inside the tackle player. They need to run the football. This helps Kirk Cousins with this offense, and it's a pretty good offense. Coach Gruden does a great job of having balance. These guys are good runners, and you think about what they need to do. They need to run the ball and set up the play-action pass. That's when Kirk Cousins is at his best, when he can stick it in there and take it out and throw it downfield.
The Redskins at home this week. All right, Teddy, a running back who faces a difficult setup this week.
I know Todd Gurley's been explosive this year, but I'm going to go with Todd Gurley going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this is why. You heard Calais Campbell on the show earlier. He wants to be they want to be the best defense there is. And these youngsters, when you're young and on defense, you got these linebackers like Smith and Campbell. They're all trying to prove that they're the best. They see the challenge at hand, and it's Gurley. They're focusing on him all week. We got to prove we can stop the run now, get better against it because they haven't been the best. They want to prove they're the best. This is how they'll do it.
Herm, who do you like regardless?
Leonard Fournette, and why?
With
they
good
run
reason.
the ball actually more than they pass it. Listen to these numbers. 35 run attempts, only 25 pass attempts. You don't hear those numbers in the National Football League. This is the balance of this offense. They are going to run the football with Fournette, and eventually if you keep running him inside, he's going to break a big one like he did against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, this is a physical player that can run downhill. Their whole offense is based around one thing and one thing only. We're going to run the ball. And we're going to keep running it, and we're going to test your will, and eventually something's going to break. And this guy right here is the guy to give the ball to because he is very, very good. not only as a runner, but as a pass catcher, too. Doesn't get enough credit for that.
Well, listen, running the way he's running, you can't blame him. I'd give it to him, too.
Hey, they're in first place. They've run themselves into first place right now, haven't they?
Yes, they have. A breakout candidate, potentially, in terms of running backs.
All right, it's time. Doug Martin of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think he breaks out this week.
Breakout?
When he played against the Patriots on that Thursday night, he looked explosive.
Spry.
He does. That's
Well, he was fresh. He hadn't played.
Spry. We don't use that word in
Spry. That's a word I've never used before as an analyst.
football
It's the
2
first
months.
time ever. He's
Really?
Tough. Doug Martin against. I mean, this is a guy. He just looks like wow. This guy looks like he's back. So I think he's going to break out this week. He's going to have a better day, I think, than Adrian Peterson on the other side. Doug Martin, breakout.
Tell us Sugar Teddy sounds spry when he talks about that.
Right, huh? Okay.
Well done. Twice in one day. Potential storyline added with running backs that you're watching this
Look,
week.
we started this segment talking about Adrian Peterson, but I think you have to focus in on the team that he left behind. And the reason they traded him is because they love Alvin Kamara. They're a rookie running back, the third-round pick, who they traded a second-round draft pick in 2018 to go get. You saw what he could do against the Miami Dolphins in London. There was the glimpse right there, the joker in the Saints offense, the man who makes plays. They also love Mark Ingram. But the young man, Alvin Kamara, this is his time to shine, and it looks like he's got a big opportunity. His emergence enabled New Orleans to be able to go trade Adrian Peterson to Arizona.
You know, it looked like a situation that could have gotten ugly in a hurry if they didn't come to this conclusion. But to your point, it's a win-win, at least right now. Matthew Berry, some running back love-hate this week.
Yeah, you know, we always talk about matchups on this show, especially on Thursdays. So a matchup I love this week, the Chargers and Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch makes the love list this week. I know it's been up and down season for beast mode, but think about last week when the Giants lost all the receivers, haven't been able to run the ball all year, and yet still Orleans Darkwa and Wayne Gallman went for 126 yards and a touchdown against the Bolts. LA has allowed 5.47 yards per carry to opposing running backs this season. That is last in the National Football League, or the most, depending on how you put it. 26 fantasy points a game to opposing running backs. Lynch got into the end zone last week. I think he does again today, or on Sunday, I should say, against the Chargers. He's a top 12 play for me this week. As for a running back I'm not crazy about, Jay Ajayi of the Miami Dolphins. Again, I don't know if you have better options. You're probably going to have to start him, but he's currently running back 40 on the season. Dolphins, the only team in the NFL without a rushing touchdown this season, second fewest rushing yards this season. And you know what? Lost in the fact of, the tape and everything that we've talked about that, the Dolphins also lost their offensive line coach and their run coordinator. That's tough to just suddenly install, especially coming against a Falcons team that is off the bye at home, that has been fifth in the NFL against the run over the last 4 weeks. So Jay Ajayi, just a low-end RB2 for me. Wendy.